He's normally one of the most reserved people in Washington, but Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell had a pretty stark warning about Trump's trade wars.
Unemployment is likely to go up as the economy slows in all likelihood, and inflation is likely to go up as tariffs find their way, and some part of those tariffs come to be paid by the public.
And as you might imagine, when the Fed chair speaks, the markets listen. And investors did not seem to like what they heard today. Stocks tumbled after Powell said the U.S. economy could face a challenging trifecta of higher costs, higher unemployment, and slower growth, all because of Trump's tariffs. Now, I want to bring in former Republican governor of Ohio, John Kasich. He chaired the House Budget Committee while in Congress and also worked as an investment banker. He's also the author of the new book, Heaven Help Us, How Faith Communities Inspire Hope, Strengthen Neighborhoods, and Build the Future. Depending on who you are, a lot of people saying Heaven Help Us tonight. But Governor, you called Trump's approach to tariffs total chaos. Fed Chair Powell is also warning they could cause higher inflation, higher unemployment, slower growth, all that at the same time. Where do you see Republicans' place in this to speak out or even push back?
Well, clearly in the Congress, except for 7 senators that said that they thought they should see some authority back, they're like missing in action. And we're supposed to have 3 branches of government: the executive, the judicial, and the legislative. And the fact of the matter is, the legislative branch has been muzzled for many years. Not just now, but it's been terrible. So we're out of balance here. Instead of having those 3 balance against one another, the legislative branch has gone away, and the Republicans have said nothing. I was in the Congress for a significant period of time, and as a Republican, we never supported all these tariffs. We were basically free traders, fair traders, but free traders. We didn't believe that tariffs were good. And now what do we see happening? We see the bond market, we see high yields, we see weakness in the bond market. We're beginning to see maybe a little reignited inflation, which you hear the chairman of the Fed talk about today. We see the value of the dollar plummet, which some people think that is a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing. So we've seen a weakened dollar. We've seen a weakened bond market. We see the prospect of higher prices, more inflation. I mean, this is not a policy that has ever worked. And I just frankly don't understand why, after 80 years of peace and prosperity, we've decided that, the formula doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't make sense to me.
And, one of the big tests that people are looking for sort of in watching this performance is how will this be tested in the midterms. Obviously some time away, but will come up pretty quickly. And our CNN's Ellie Reid spoke to some people in eastern South Dakota, for example, where Trump won 70% of the vote. There is a lot of concern, but some do seem willing to give Trump time. Just take a quick listen.
Sure.
I wanted Trump. Yep. There was no way in hell I wanted to out there. But now I don't know. What would have been better?
I just think we need to let the president do what he's doing, and we need to just see what's going to happen here and give him a little latitude so that, if it doesn't work, then we're going to have to try something different.
And, the president has gotten, he says that their negotiation that was 15.
Omar.
Say again?
Omar, I listened to the farm. Yeah. I hope he's not going to come to Washington and say, I need a subsidy now because the tariffs have really hurt me.
Well, I guess that's the question. How much leeway will Trump supporters give him, and for how long?
Well, look, the country wanted things shaken, okay? And they saw the pendulum move too far to the left. And now the pendulum is coming back, and the question is how far will it go to the right? Now, I don't consider tariffs to be to the right, but it's sort of the conservatives moving it away from where the Democrats had it. And so they're willing to give him a chance. You're beginning to see some of his numbers slip. It has not been dramatic, but in fact, his numbers are not as good as they were among Republicans, but Republicans are still willing to give him a chance. And I think that's why you're not seeing much from the members of the Republican Party in either the House or the Senate. And you saw what happened to Chuck Grassley. Chuck Grassley goes out there, and he gets pummeled at the age of, 92? And frankly, I think he was shocked. I don't know why he was shocked. Did he not know that people, at least in his state, were concerned, even if it was the base of the Democrats coming out and raising Cain with him. But, there's just a lot of turmoil and chaos. And And whenever the country is divided, we don't do as well as when the country is united. And this is a pattern, Omar, in some respects, when you look at our foreign policy as well. America's sort of retreating, trying to go it alone. And I understand the need for renegotiation on some of these trade agreements. I also understand the fact that people want some manufacturing to come back. But Omar, with the manufacturing, not going to come a lot of jobs because now we use technology. And even in steel making, if you take a look at the numbers that are involved, the individual themselves can produce a lot more. So we may get some more manufacturing, but you're not going to see this tremendous growth in jobs because it's now in the more the technical space.
And we've heard from some auto industry leaders that even if manufacturing jobs do come back, it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. Governor, I want to talk about your new book, Heaven Help Us, because it's an interesting title. Could be positive or worrying, but bottom line, you highlight the real life stories of a cross section of faiths. Sort of at the crux of each story is radical generosity. Can you just tell us about it and how you believe it sort of applies to this moment in American politics?
Yeah. Well, Omar, a lot of people don't know what to do. And what I say is there's things you can do right where you live. And, using the institutions of the church, the synagogue, or the mosque, there are many things, including, fighting hunger, dealing with human trafficking, the homeless, what happens with the autistic as they age. These are many things that if you go into your institution, if you have a purpose, if you have a mission, you can realize your purpose, you can get other people to help you and get some of the resources from those institutions to help build a stronger community. And when we think about that, think of it this way. If the Secretary of State and your trash man both went on vacation, who would you miss most? Because most politics occurs at the local level and all change comes from the bottom up. This is not a book about politics, but it's a playbook for how people can find purpose and make a difference in their lives and in the lives of their community through the institutions of faith.
And again, with a title that, depending on who you are, maybe the words you have said many times or not. Heaven Help Us by Governor John Kasich. Thank you again. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much, Omar, and good luck.